Hello everybody, what's going on? Lots of stuff to talk about today. Why don't we open up this video with an example of an industry giant face planting? In other words, some good old-fashioned hopecore. A company doing something so dumb that you get reminded intelligence doesn't seem to be the factor in accumulating wealth and power. Project Titan. So a very small tech company that you have probably never heard of. Apple, who some, not myself, but some might say are known for having this stinky itty bitty product that nobody on earth uses called the iPhone. They had big dreams of completely disrupting the world of ground transportation. Get this, they wanted to make a self-driving car and taxi service using electric vehicles. So Waymo. The pitch was Waymo, the iPhone of transportation. I don't think that people really think of Waymo like iPhone, but whatever. The original concept was a product that had no steering wheel, no pedals, fully autonomous AI driving, and fully integrated voice control through Siri. That's right, Siri. Here's the problem. No shot they could have made this car by 2028. Even with the advancements of this kind of technology. I mean, Siri struggles to set my alarm correctly in the year 2025. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that this little bastard is going to direct me off a cliff if I go to the pharmacy after it shows me something completely unrelated on the web. Waymo isn't quite fully autonomous either, as it requires human intervention if a paper bag flies onto the hood of the car. Now, the obvious problem that anyone can recognize today with hindsight, Apple, a phone company that doesn't make cars, is already way behind their would-be competitors, Waymo, all the other self-driving car programs, Tesla, and Uber. I want to give us all a second to just appreciate this. I like some of those Apple products. What the fuck do they know about cars? Oh hey, do you know how we're known for mediocre phones that use the technology of our competitors but in slightly more aesthetic and marketably premium ways? What if we also did cars for no reason at all? Wouldn't that be a wonderful idea that nobody would point and laugh at us about in the future? So Apple eventually realized that they had to scale back and make an actually realistic product that would need to compete with all three industries that they are isolated from and that they were hoping to disrupt. They give up on pretty much all of their revolutionary features, which the biggest one here is the fully autonomous driving, and instead landed on making an overpriced electric car with the same features that literally every other new car has. They sunk billions of dollars, a decade of blood, sweat, and tears, and ended up laying off hundreds of employees as a result of this cursed project. So all in all, this Project Titan was a massive success. Like all tech companies run by greedy little weirdos, they pivoted to developing AI features for their products. Like moths to a flame. But from the ashes, a certain executive involved with Project Titan will make our future road somehow even more shitty in the name of profit. So self-driving cars, autonomous vehicles, AVs for short. You've seen them around. New self-driving car projects hit streets what seems like every single week. You gotta be a little careful talking about self-driving cars because proponents of them are quite obnoxious. They talk about how amazingly efficient the streets will be.
Look at this Waymo. It keeps coming up to the gate, but it's not pulling forward enough for the gate to open. So it's just stuck in our complex. Driving around, I guess, for the rest of the day. I don't know. It just keeps doing this. This is the third time it's done it.
They talk about the potential functionality of them in relation to disabled people, continuing the grift of tech bros using disabled people as pawn pieces to further narratives as if disabled people are a monolith who are all super duper excited to buy new products that will help them fit into society instead of wanting to change society to accommodate them. They bring up statistics of how safe they are and how often humans get into fatal car crashes in response to any criticism at all. And I agree for the most part. Self-driving cars are safer, partly because they can't drink alcohol, text while driving, and do simple human errors that result in horrible accidents. Although all of those problems are replaced by their own set of problems that will take a long time to fully work out. Oh. What the hell? I will never get in one of those. but I agree with the AV heads on the safety argument specifically. So many people die in car crashes. If we view autonomous driving functionality without the nuances and current bugs that they're currently working out and view it purely as a safety feature, on paper, it will reduce car crashes and deaths. But consider this position. I don't hate self-driving functionality, and I don't even dogmatically hate cars. I hate what the industry has done and will continue to do. I hate the plague that prioritizing individual single-family automotive transportation has brought upon the world, and I don't trust the industry for a second to not find innovative ways to environmentally torture humans. This is not a new technology bad thing. Even though self-driving cars will be safer, society bending over backwards for personal vehicles will happen as much, if not even more, in the future, and I don't like that. Here's what I do like: options, democracy. And our corporate overlords won't give us any. I'm train-pilled, baby. Get those selfish explosion coffins away from me. Car infrastructure has destroyed neighborhoods. Inner-city and cross-country transportation initiatives gets in the way of alternative vehicle travel, such as bicycle travel, and stunts such development of that kind of infrastructure, and led to sprawly suburban hellscapes on the edge of pretty much every major US city. I do not say this lightly. The car industry fucked everything up in America. Did you know that roads and cities used to be for walking on? Pedestrians ruled the road, and horse riders, carriages, and vehicles had to accommodate for them, not the other way around. And then this ding-dong absolute piece of work screwed everything up and unleashed an army of automobiles. And then the industry influenced policy to slowly take public spaces away and turn them into car spaces. Buying up public transportation lines and ripping tracks out of the ground, making it illegal to walk on roads, and making pockets of society extremely difficult to live in without owning a car. Dude, I hate that shit. And I'm not even 100% anti-car. I just want to have the option to bike to the grocery store without the fear of a 4,000-pound wrecking ball whipping around the corner going 40 miles per hour, operated by an overworked DoorDasher crashing into me. I want the option to take a properly funded public transportation system that can efficiently and reliably take me to where I want to go without a certain industry, both currently and historically, lobbying and fighting tooth and nail to make that as difficult as humanly possible. Every time I drive a car, it's against my own will. Cars murder people. Cities are loud and stressful because of cars, and areas feel cramped and inhospitable because of car infrastructure. And I see self-driving cars as nothing but the natural progression of this. I mainly see it as a means to individualize transportation even more. Once car companies are confident in self-driving capabilities, I'm terrified that even more infrastructure and resources are going to get poured into vehicles when urban areas would be way more pleasant, livable, and efficient with simply more options and democracy. Not to mention, these things suck right now.
Okay, why is this happening to me on a Monday? I'm in a Waymo car.
Connected to rider support. This call may be recorded for quality assurance.
This car is just going in circles.
Hi there, Mike. This is Gab. I'm calling from Waymo Support. I'm just calling because I received a notification that your car might be experiencing some routing issue. Please bear with me while I am...
Yeah, I got a flight to catch. Why is this thing going in a circle? I'm getting dizzy. Look at what it's doing.
I understand. I'm really sorry, Mike. We're currently working with the situation of the vehicle. Is it circling around a parking lot, right?
It's circling around a parking lot.
I don't have an option to control the car, Mike. I'm really so sorry about this.
Well, can you stop this car?
I am trying to pull it over right now. Apologies.
We are realistically so far away from roads and highways competently, efficiently, and safely swarming with AVs. But the tech world and industry leaders want to gaslight society into thinking that it's just around the corner. Human-operated vehicles have intuition. They don't get confused by a leaf blowing onto the road. There's no shortage of videos showcasing AVs getting confused and jamming up traffic, over something ridiculous, and even videos of these cars blocking emergency response vehicles. There's also no shortage of concerning reports of AVs being rushed onto streets, such as Cruise, an AV ride-hailing app keeping their cars on streets without disclosing internal information that these vehicles have a hard time recognizing and exercising caution around child pedestrians. Those darn kids. I think it's so weird how parents typically don't like the concept of tech companies hitting their children with cars. I don't remember giving these companies permission to treat my neighborhood as a beta testing ground. Everyone that these cars murder are just data points, just another statistic, baby. I also hate it. Oh my god, it fills me with rage when either proponents of AVs or actual car companies promoting the concept of AVs pitch this technology as part of utopia. But that's not the case. You know what we're heading for? More cars. More passenger and driverless cars wandering the streets for any number of reasons, resulting in even more traffic. I also hear people say that every car being AV will create an influx of ride-sharing services that would reduce the need for public transport. Let's just park the idea that trains are wildly more efficient at transporting people than cars. I don't really view this idea as efficient. The millions of people in the US who take public transit every day, even half of these people, all of those people will ditch their routes with door-to-door taxi services. And that won't unbelievably fuck the roads up? Replacing public transportation with robot cars might sound like utopia to car industry executives, but it sounds more like dystopia to me. Oh hey, not to mention, look at all of those cameras. 29 cameras that capture 360 degrees of footage, and they record everything. Many Waymo cars were vandalized during the LA ICE protests in the summer of 2025. And that's because law enforcement agencies use the footage that these companies record to aid in investigations. In other words, these things are surveillance statemobiles. I guess the average utopia is equipped with wheel-mounted panopticons. Billionaires do this all the time. They pitch utopia without realizing that it's dystopia. Mark Zuckerberg promised a utopic way of life with the metaverse where everyone can pursue their wildest fantasies by basically playing VR chat in a lobby with a bunch of horny 14-year-olds. Maybe I'm just salty because I'm not seeing good numbers on my NFT virtual real estate investment, even though Snoop Dogg told me it was a good idea. At least his avatar did. That future sounds like a fucking nightmare, and nobody liked the metaverse. It became simply another forgotten idea that was ditched for AI integration, as dead as Project Titan. I guarantee you, there is nothing utopic about having your car be your personal Uber. I swear, it's not going to change your life that much. Good news, everyone. Wealth inequality and homelessness is solved because you now get to watch Harry Potter on your commute to work. You know what that actually sounds like to me? More time for productivity. Hey bud, looks like you get to get started on your work day earlier on your way into work. So here's some more for your workload, you valuable asset you. Do you want to know what would be near utopic? Do you want to know what is in those vision boards of utopia? Transportation options. There's like so many ways to move in all of these pictures of utopia. Also walking. More options than just fucking cars. Do you think that utopia includes massive systems of freeways and no spaces to walk around? No, it includes spaces to walk around and ride bikes and take shuttles and trains and stuff. A society with democratized transportation is often looked upon as utopia adjacent. Who would have thought? But common sense doesn't stop people from pitching the idea of these companies working with cities and transportation departments to make everything autonomous. Why are you looking at me like that? The AV industry would never try to completely encapsulate transportation in the same way that the regular car industry has in the past. Never. And I mean never. Listen to a car salesperson tell you that they are pro-public transportation. Never listen to them when they pitch you something that is not the car that they currently sell. Remember the Hyperloop? Ooh, what a revolutionary idea. Now that is an idea that will bring upon utopia. Hyperloop is the seemingly dead-in-the-water high-speed rail alternative that is just essentially a tube that you drive your Tesla into, and then you would get shot from LA to San Francisco in 30 minutes. From Elon Musk's very own Boring Company. Here's the thing about Hyperloop. It's a horrible, unviable, unbelievably expensive, and dumb idea that won't see the light of day, and it is heavily speculated that it was all just a means to stunt the development of California's high-speed rail system. This is Elon Musk's pre-Republican switch-up playbook. Lofty goals that gain hype from the 2010s, lay epic internet culture in circles in an act to boost Tesla's stock, all while he does the same exact shit that you would expect of a billionaire under the table. It's not like we don't know how this story plays out. It pisses me off. Also, oh buddy, our tech company is going to influence lawmakers to roll out favorable policies and deregulatory practices. Let's take it back, all the way back to Project Titan. I want to introduce you to somebody, the man who crawled out of the rubble of this incredibly dumb idea that completely and utterly failed. Jonathan Morrison, the two-time head of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Morrison reportedly previously worked on Project Titan. We don't really know much about Project Titan because it's so secretive, but he refuses to talk about his time working at Apple and Project Titan as he signed non-disclosure agreements. So yeah, we have a pretty good idea of what he did at Apple. Pro tip, if someone asks you a question that you don't want to give them an answer to, just say that you signed an NDA. Doesn't matter the context. Oh, I see there's a gap in your employment history. Care to explain that? I signed an NDA. Gets him every time. Now, you may be smelling the bullshit already. This person was head of the NHTSA under the first Trump administration and worked as a lawyer for one of Apple's secretive projects, most likely Project Titan. What did he do for Apple's failed car project? He helped them avoid regulation. After all of that imploded, he is now returning to his position at the NHTSA, but he gets to keep his Apple stocks, and he is in control of the agency that regulates the industry that he is an insider of. This is just kind of a thing in American politics. Part of the mechanisms of our society being so horrible is a phenomenon called corporate capture. That's essentially when corporations find ways to court regulators, lawmakers, politicians in order to gain influence in opinions, policies, and regulation of their own industry, as well as insider protection and advantages. The Trump administration is very evil, but you gotta hand it to them. The way they wear their corruption on their sleeve is at least a little less obnoxious than poorly attempting to hide it. And it should really speak volumes that the Autonomous Vehicle Industry Association, these are the members of the association, by the way, made a public statement in celebration of Morrison's confirmation. And that's because Morrison is going to champion their interests and help these companies rush unfinished and unsafe products onto the streets. He has a complicated history of folding like a lawn chair to lobbyists. Morrison was accused of being swayed by trucking lobbyists to amend a report that suggested a fairly reasonable and cost-effective regulation that would prevent underride collisions, which an underride collision is when a smaller car crashes into a truck, but the collision happens under the truck's cargo carriage, and it can result in some absolutely horrific accidents. Like, this is a serious problem, and it really needs to get solved. I have a friend who got into one of those kinds of accidents. Luckily, only their car got totaled, but like, yeah, it could have like decapitated them. Anyways, I don't really trust this guy to be making the right calls when information like this exists. And when the immediate conflict of interest is this cartoonishly recognizable, well, what can I do? Nothing. I'm on the same sinking ship that you're on. I think that this is our future. The Trump administration is trying to massively deregulate all things artificial intelligence. And while the relationship with Elon Musk is pretty rocky, albeit predictably so, it's easy to assume that all AV companies will be allowed to break rules and ask for forgiveness upon conflict and controversy instead of permission, and the consequences of that, paired with the right-wing billionaire hatred of all things public transportation, will quite literally just be a harder life for those trying to get to work and run errands and stuff. These cars are still learning, still being trained to have human-like intuition that is expected on the roads. They're just small beans. Streets are gonna get filled with them. They're gonna get stuck in dumb places. They will slowly replace gig workers. They will do stuff like drive around in circles in a parking lot honking at each other at like 2 in the morning, causing people to lose out on sleep. And we're all just expected to deal deal with it. Truly, what else can we do? Society is being forced to take part in training these dumbass robot cars to actually function so that others will get money. And all we will get out of this is the warmth in our hearts, knowing that we helped out a tech CEO achieve their goals. And we'll also get more car infrastructure. Haha, skin! That's the future of transportation, baby. I need to save up for an e-bike. But that has nothing to do with the video. I just remembered that I need to do that. I'm not so good at doing outros. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll try my hardest to have my next yap session be slightly less depressing. I also got a Patreon. I got goodies and end of video shout outs. Link in the bio. Show me my patrons. Peace.